Final Four is this Saturday, and as we head into the big weekend in the college basketball world, it's time to look at some of the NBA draft prospects that either hurt their stock or helped their stock in the NCAA Tournament in 2024. I am Nic Rohloff, and as we head into the Final Four, I do want to know who you got winning the NCAA Championship. Do you think UConn repeats? Type the UConns. If you think Bama is going to win a NCAA tournament in basketball, type Bama. NC State, the story of DJ Burns continues, type the NC States. And if you think Zach Edey and Purdue take it home a year after losing as a 1 seed to a 16, type the PUR. It's only fitting that we start our conversation with a player that is in the Final Four. Stock up on Donovan Clingan, the center for UConn. He has been absolutely dominating March Madness thus far, and he has made every other player he's played against look like absolutely little kids. And it's hard not to make other people look like little kids. Well, when you look like this, Clingan comes in at a 7'2" height. He's 280 pounds, and he has a wingspan that is 7 feet 7 inches long. He is a defensive menace for the Connecticut Huskies, and he put that on full display against Illinois this past Saturday in the Elite Eight when he totaled 5 blocks and absolutely shut down in the painted area for the Fighting Illini. But it goes much farther than just that game. In the 4 games leading up to the Final Four, he has been dominant in March Madness, averaging just nearly 16 points a game to go alongside 10 rebounds and 3.5 blocks per night. And he doesn't take a lot of shots that aren't at the rim, so his field goal percentage is pretty high. The free throw percentage sitting around 60 as well, so not the most experienced shooter, but he is putting on display why many believe he is going to be a lottery pick and likely inside the top 10, and some are even saying he could challenge Alex Sarr or Zachary Risacher for that number 1 overall pick. Now, do I believe that's in the cards for Clingan? Probably not, but the person named and deemed Kling Kong is certainly putting his name on the map, can absolutely protect the rim better than anyone else in this draft class. And if he's able to develop a little bit of an offensive game and get a little quicker, I think he could be really solid in the NBA. Move on to our first stock down, and it hurts for me to put him on the stock down category because this is my guy, Reed Sheppard, the point guard from Kentucky. He only played in 1 game in March Madness as the Wildcats did lose to the Oakland Grizzlies in the first round. And boy, did Reed Sheppard not look good in that game, man. And I was disappointed because Reed's one of my favorite players, a true freshman for the Wildcats, to where I believed that he was going to be someone that actually popped during the tournament. And if Kentucky and Calipari made a run in this tourney, I think Sheppard was going to be the reason why. But he really struggled in that first game. He looked like a true freshman, man. He made a couple careless passes that turned the ball over, 4 assists to 2 turnover ratio in that game. Only went 1 of 5 from the field, did knock down a clutch 3, but it didn't amount to anything, only finished with 3 points. I mean, this was someone who was shooting 50% from beyond the arc all year long for Kentucky, 55% from the field. He still was able to be an impact on the defensive side, one of their best on-ball defenders, averaging just over 2 steals a game. He got 2 cookies in that game against Oakland, but man, I was disappointed with the way he kind of shriveled up in the big moments, and the reason why Kentucky lost that game was their 2 freshman guards, Rob Dillingham and Reed Sheppard, with Sheppard being a main reason why. Well, maybe it's because they're a little too young and little not ready for the moment. I'll tell you what, though, this upcoming Saturday, the Final Four, we're actually going to be live for those 2 games. NC State Purdue kicks us off around 5:30 CT, and then UConn and Alabama follow about 30 minutes after that first game concludes. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on those notifications so when I go live on Saturday to do play-by-play commentary and analysis for the Final Four games, you don't miss it. Next guy, stock up, Dalton Knecht, the forward from Tennessee. And boy, am I excited to talk about this guy. He is my favorite player in the NBA draft class. I'm officially putting that on the table. I don't care. He's my favorite. And he absolutely went crazy for the Volunteers in the 4 games they played. Just came up short, losing in the Elite Eight to Zach Edey and Purdue, but it wasn't because of Knecht's inability to score the basketball, that's for sure. 26 a game, and He actually had 37 against Purdue in the Elite Eight. So he rose to the occasion in the biggest game of the season. And you see that number at the bottom of your screen. 40% from deep. He has an absolute strap on him. He can shoot from anywhere on the court, corner, top of the key, wings, elbow, does not matter. And to me, he is the best volume shooter in the class. He might not be the most efficient because, well, the guy we just talked about, Reed Sheppard, I did say he was shooting 50% from three on the year, right? So he's very good at keeping an efficient mark. But when you tie in efficiency with volume, Knecht was putting up 8, 9 threes a game this year, shooting 40%, and he did the same thing in the tournament when the defenses tightened up and the lights got brighter. I believe Dalton Knecht is going to be a special player in the NBA. He is so offensively fluid. He can fit in any single offense in the entire NBA, and I believe he will be able to contribute to any team year one because of his shooting, his scoring, his ability to rise over opponents and get any shot he wants. I think he's going to go top 10 in the NBA draft. I already said he's my favorite player in this draft class. I want to know your favorite player, though. Maybe it's Klingan, maybe it's Alex Sarr, maybe it's Rob Dillingham, maybe it's Cody Williams. Mine's Dalton Knecht. Let me know your favorite down in the comment section. All right, stock down here. Ryan Dunn, forward from Virginia. Someone that I've been a little bit higher on than most. I looked over at the Ringer and Kevin O'Connor's rankings. He has him not even as a top 30 player, which would be out of the first round. I still think Dunn is going to go in the first round, but he did not help his case in the one game he played in the first four when they took on Colorado State in Dayton. Dunn, I love him, but he does not have any offense. And he has a jumper that looks like it can be developed, but I'm concerned with that offense because he has great length and great size, but he still struggles to finish at the rim. But the counterpoint to that is that he has a chance to be an absolute elite defensive player in the NBA. Like, he already, to me, could provide you the same role almost as a Jared Vanderbilt in the NBA because he has a 7'1" wingspan at 6'8" height. He can get into a defensive stance, get his hands in the passing lanes, really deter people driving on him because they know they're going to have to put the ball up way higher than they usually do when Dunn gets that contest on him. I think Ryan Dunn has the chance to be a really good defensive specialist in the NBA, but as we've seen, this league is going to more of an offensive pace and offensive style, so you need to be able to give you some offense as well as defense. Can't be just a defensive guy if you want to earn key rotation minutes in the NBA. 4 more players that I want to talk about today, but we are sponsored by PrizePicks, who are offering you a fantastic deal right now. When you go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS, they're giving you a first deposit match up to $100. It's the #1 daily fantasy sports app with more than 3 million members. It's so easy to play. All you do is pick more than or less than on 2 or more player stat projections, and you can win up some serious money. March is over, but the biggest moments in college basketball tip off in the month of April. Be a part of the action on PrizePicks for both the men's and women's college basketball Final Four. UConn's in both. Paige Buchers, Caitlin Clark, Klingan, Zach Edey. You got all the stars in the Final Four. You could also play alongside of some of your favorite PrizePicks players, like Meek Mill and Sugar Sean O'Malley. You could find their community plays under the promos tab of the app to view entries from some of the biggest names in the PrizePicks community each week. I mentioned the Final Four. Here are my picks for this upcoming Saturday. I'll take the more than on Zach Edey, 25.5 points. I think he actually gets the best of DJ Burns in that first matchup. And then I'll take the more than on Cam Spencer, 15.5 points. The transfer from Rutgers has been a revelation for the Huskies. And in that fast-paced game that Alabama likes to play, I expect Spencer to get up a lot of shots. And I also take the more than on Klingan, 9.5 rebounds. He's averaging 10 a game in the tournament, as we highlighted earlier. I expect him to get that mark again. I could win up to 5 times my money because that is a 3-player stat projection. So make sure you get started today. Just pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Download the app today and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Or you can hit that link that will be in the description and comments of today's video, prizepicks.com/CLNS. All right, 3 more stock ups to talk to. We'll end on a positive note today. 1 more stock down, and Zach Edey the aforementioned Purdue basketball player is someone who has just been on a different world this entire season, likely going to win the Player of the Year in college basketball award, and for good reason, man. Zach Edey has been fantastic all year long, and he's elevated his play in the tournament. 30 points a game, including a 40-piece tender on Sunday against Tennessee in the Elite Eight. How about 16.3 rebounds in these 4 games as well? Just a ridiculous shooting mark. And it's not like he's some hack at the free throw line. He struggled a little bit against the Volunteers on Sunday, but he's still shooting 66.7% from the charity stripe during March Madness, while hoping that, oh my goodness, 65.6 field goal percentage. And the thing on Edey is that he is such a polarizing draft figure. Like, no one knows if he is going to be late first round, lottery, first round at all. Like, to me, I like 30 more guys out there, and I'll have a big board video in the next couple weeks as well after the tournament concludes and I get some more scouting in me. And, well, we do have the playoffs coming up. But Zach Edey has been someone mocked in the lottery from ESPN draft experts. But he's also been mocked not even in the first round on some other places. No one understands how he will play. Can he translate into the NBA? We haven't seen people that size really dominate or make a big-time role for themselves at a consistent basis in the past. My biggest question with Edey, can he move his feet? Can he defend? He's got the arm length to really be a deterrent at the rim, but if teams are just going to put him in the pick and roll and he's not going to be able to keep up with the speed of some of the centers in our NBA or definitely any of the guards, then how are you going to be able to play the guy if all he's going to give you is maybe some right hooks in the post? Maybe you believe he's going to be a good player and disagree with me. Will Zach Edey be a good NBA player? Definitely the most polarizing draft prospect there is right now. Type Y for yes, type N for no. Let me know your thoughts on the big man from Purdue. Final stock down of the day, Jacobe Walter, the guard/forward from Baylor. And this one might be nitpicky for me. He actually had, if you just look at the raw box score, a couple decent games in the first 2 rounds for Baylor, beating Colgate, but then losing to the Clemson Tigers, had 19 and 20 points in those 2 games respectively. But the reason why I got a little turned off by Walter, well, like I said, it's nitpicky, but he went 5 of 11 at the line against the Tigers in the round of 32, and that kind of lost them the game. Like, if you remember, they actually got a foul call with a minute to go, down 2. Walter tapped to the line to tie up that ball game potentially with under a minute to go, and he bricked both free throws. I know. It's just one bad moment, but it was something that I kind of put in the back of my head here. I like Walter. He's a really good shooter, true freshman from Baylor. I just don't know if he's going to go top 10 like I once thought he was. He might be late lottery, maybe just outside the lottery after this tournament. Someone who has maybe crept themselves into lottery consideration, the guard from Alabama, another member of the Final Four, Mark Sears. And this 6'1 lefty has been incredible in the postseason play for the Crimson Tide. And his play is, well, drawn him some very well pro comparisons. Jalen Brunson, ring a bell, the guard for the New York Knicks, has been someone Sears has been compared to. Maybe it's because he's a short left-handed point guard. Well, that probably is why. We'll talk about that in just a second. But Sears has been fantastic for Nate Oates in Alabama. 24 a game, shooting 51% from the field. And how about this? 45% from beyond the arc, and he hoists them up. Just like Dalton Knecht, he shoots about 9 trays a game for Alabama. It's that new style analytic offense that Oates like to explore, where it's basically just layups and threes. And I mentioned the Brunson-Sears comparison. Well, it is eerily similar, actually. Jalen Brunson is labeled at 6'2", 200 with a 6'4 wingspan. Sears, 6'1", 185, and 6'2". Like I said, they're both left-handed point guards that are a little bit undersized, but the way Sears can score, and he knows how to craft his way and slither inside around the rim to get shots up, and his unlimited range from the three-point spot is something that, I mean, it's hard to not ignore, right? I think Sears is someone that has played himself from a mid-second round pick to probably a late first-round pick. Maybe he'll make the same impact that Jalen Brunson did for the Mavericks, and then, who knows, maybe take his own team over in the future as well. Final team, or player, I should say, that we're going to talk about. Stock up on Tristan da Silva, the forward from Colorado. And boy, oh boy, does this kid just do it all, man. I was flat out impressed from the senior out of Colorado. I was a little bit unfamiliar with his game, and then I started watching him late in the season, Pac-12 tournament, as Colorado made a run to the title game, ended up losing to Oregon, but then had a really solid 3 games in March Madness, 18 a night for the Buffaloes. But the shooting percentage and efficiency is something that really intrigued me because he's got a smooth shooting stroke, 56% from beyond the arc. And to me, he is someone that is just so experienced at the college level. He is a senior. He's got a good stroke. They trusted him to be a top-tier defender for that Colorado team, but they also gave him the ball to bring up, and I know the 2.7 assists in these 3-game sample sizes is going to tell you that, but the more I dove into his film, the more that I saw the Buffaloes and Boyle, their head coach, trust him with facilitating and getting the offense started for Colorado. I think he will be someone that will help a contender year one. I think I said this on a prior video, like the Heat drafting Jaime Jaquez Jr., like the Warriors drafting Brandon Podziemski. These experienced collegiate players that are polished, that might not have the highest upside, but will come in and they could use that cheap rookie contract well by getting a valuable role player to help them win a championship right now. I think De Silva goes just outside the lottery to a team between 16 and 25 to where a contender can pick him up and use him day one to try to go win a championship in the following season. This was a long video. Broke down 8 draft prospects here. Are you a real one? If you made it to the end of the video, type me down in the comment section. I'm going to have my eyes down below. So I want to know if you made it to the end of the video. If you did, you're a real one. So type your me's. And if you are a real one who likes this NBA draft content, well, then I should probably tell you to follow me on Twitter at Nic_Rohloff because I spearhead the NBA draft coverage here at Chat Sports. So make sure you follow me over there because I'm talking a lot about NBA draft prospects on the Bird app as well as YouTube. So go give me a follow.